Good evening, this is Atmospheric Alex here with yet another weather forecast and discussion, and this one's going to be for our snowstorm threat across the deep south and the southeast, and then a snowstorm threat nor'easter across the northeast. That said, this video will be broken out into two parts, and the timestamp to the northeast part of the video will be located just below my head. So we're going to jump straight into this here. We don't have any products on WeatherWise because it's a little bit too early for that. We're just going to jump straight into the models. Here's your European models. We start off with it. We are going to be seeing a lot of snow here breaking out across southeastern Texas, southern Louisiana, very far south. Going into a Tuesday morning into afternoon. And you can see this classic southern slider look here, as this pushes directly off to your east here. So, nice little classic snowstorm showing up here. This would bring quite a bit of snow along the Gulf coastline, but you're about to see in the next few models, this is likely going to trend northwest over the next few days. And it could become more of an issue down the line for portions of South Carolina, maybe central Georgia, maybe even northern Georgia, maybe central northern Alabama, Mississippi, and I would even watch East Tennessee as well. We'll get into why at pretty much the very end of this discussion. We're going to go in extreme depth and kind of talk about things that nobody else really talks about too often. But we have the southern slider here. You can see a transfer of energy, a low pressure in the Gulf to a low pressure in the Atlantic here. And yeah, just a nice little snowstorm along the whole coastline here. Not very strong or anything. This would likely stay suppressed if this was the case. And it even brings in heavy freezing rain here to northern Florida. This is a bit aggressive here, so hopefully we don't see verification of this in future model runs and forecasts. This lingers a bit until it all pushes out by Wednesday morning. Now we're going to look at the GFS model, and this one's a lot more exciting here going into Tuesday. You definitely see a lot more of a upper echelon situation, if you will, especially for areas deep south. I mean, this is crazy. Talk about snow almost down to New Orleans on this run, and a classic low pressure system down in the Gulf here. This is a nice look. You take a look at the southern extent of your snow and your northern extent of your snow. Very expansive precipitation shield here, and even Mobile, Alabama seeing snow. I mean, we're talking about southern Louisiana, far southern Mississippi with heavy snow, southern Alabama, southern Georgia. What a crazy storm system here. And then your snow shield going into the northern portions of these states here. I really strongly believe that this is going to be a lot further north with its precip shield, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. Got this strong low pressure system in the Gulf. I mean, look at this. Strong transfer of energy as well, so these areas in here might get gypped with some of your totals because it will be screaming across these areas at rapid speeds. You may only see a 6-hour slammer for those areas. We'll just have to see. But this rebuilds along the Atlantic here, and it drops a little bit more heavy snow for South Carolina, North Carolina. Big stripe of freezing rain, I will note as well. We really gotta watch for your icing concerns. Just that could lead to a lot of problems, especially northern Florida. If we see that verification, they are not used to winter weather, so be very cautious if you can on Tuesday and Wednesday if you live deep south for freezing rain. This once again pushes out by Wednesday afternoon on this model run, with the Outer Banks seeing quite a bit of snow as well. Oh boy, we're going to take a look at our Canadian model now. If you remember from the last video, this hasn't budged a bit. Look at this, a very significant winter storm breaking out Tuesday evening. Same as any other model. This shows extremely heavy snow breaking out along the Gulf Coast. So New Orleans getting absolutely pasted by snow. Mobile. This is an upper echelon solution that I'm not sure is going to play out. Boom, look at this. Yeah, this is something to keep your eyes on. If this stays on this model for another day, you really just gotta put this in the back of your head that we could be seeing a high-end solution. Dark blues, even some purple colors in there, heavy, extremely heavy snow. southern Georgia, southern South Carolina along the coast. Incredible model run. Snow shield breaking into East Tennessee there. Talking a lot about a major winter storm. Look at just off the coast here, North Carolina, just puking snow out there, but just insane model run all in all. Wait, you thought that was crazy? Here was last night's model run as it showed the storm of a century for these areas in here. And please do not take my verbiage out of context here. I am not saying we're going to see a storm of a century. I'm just saying this is what this particular model has been showing, but it's still unlikely to happen. This is way too aggressive in my opinion. But yeah, you could see historic snowfall rates across large portion there. Southern Georgia, southern South Carolina, southern North Carolina. Heavy snow breaking out all the way towards Atlanta. Moderate snow all the way to Knoxville. Light snow all the way to Nashville. Blockbuster material here. Again, I really don't expect a scenario like this to occur. This is way too aggressive. But if this did happen, my goodness, this would be remembered for years to come. Still pounding down snow there Wednesday morning, and finally leaves you alone by Wednesday evening. And hey, well, since we've been seeing so many good model runs, let's look at the icon model. Probably going to show up. Oh, yeah, it gets a little bit suppressed. We're going to take a look at kind of your breakdowns here of your upper level characteristics and why that matters for the snowstorm. But we have a large press of cold air here that suppresses it down south into the Gulf, and it's never able to lift and provide your major snowstorm. You can see it just dies out, just fizzles. And then the handoff occurs. It tries to reinvigorate across the Outer Banks, but this overall is a fluke scenario from this model run, basically showing nothing. But of course, there's been a lot of models that have been fairly aggressive, not like the Canadian though, but aggressive enough to where if we look at our national blend of all models, it definitely paints a picture here. We'll go out in time. Take a look at that. A 3 to 4 inch snow mean for central Louisiana. And I have never in my life seen a snow mean this high, this far south, this far out. Absolutely just insane material here from these models. And even continuing your 2 to 3 inch snowfall mean across southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, southern Georgia, even central Georgia. Absurd, let me tell you. But then you'd like to notice this little hole right here. I really do expect this to continue as well. You're going to see your handoff down here. You're going to see a low pressure that spins up right down here like so. And it's going to track across, central Florida, weaken a bit for re-strengthening out here in the Atlantic as a much stronger system. So you get this hole right here. So we're just going to have to wait and see, does that fill in? Or do people in here get left out of the best part of the event? Sure hope it isn't the second option. Areas up through here get crushed, 3 to 5 inches of snow. And okay, alright, let me drive this point home. Alright, you may be watching, and I don't know if you are, but you may be watching further north. Maybe you're from this area right within here. And you're probably thinking, oh, this is going to miss us. This isn't going to hit us. Why even get our hopes up, right? No, not necessarily, because like I said in my previous video, and this does hold credit, 9 times out of 10 you will see a northwest trend towards the end of your forecast. And we're going to go into that a little later on about how your major Arctic high pressure system can break down gradually as we get closer to the event. So that could help things lift off to the north, and then also your very strong wind shear aloft could wring out more moisture, if you will, just like a sponge. So please, if you're living from this blue shaded area, do not get your hopes down. Don't get upset. Just don't get complacent. Continue monitoring your local forecasts and even your models if you wish. Now for your EPS ensemble here, and we're going to zoom you right down south here. And now for your European prediction ensemble system. And now for your EPS ensemble, I'm going to zoom in on the bottom half of the screen right here. And whoa, look at that, down here all of a sudden. And that's because I want to break down the snowfall mean for you all. So taking a look here out of West Texas and Southern Louisiana, just one of the strongest signals I've seen on this model here, 2 to 3 inch mean. That is insane. Again, from the European ensemble, very conservative ensemble model, so it's crazy to be seeing that. And just, wow, look over here off to your east, directly along the Atlantic coastline. Take a look at that, a 2 to 3 inch snowfall mean here as well. Just insane stuff. You don't usually see this. We're talking like Charleston, 2.5 inches on this run, 3 inches for Wilmington. Unbelievable. I think this is going to tick north over the next few days. It always does. Tick northwest. Probably will land itself somewhere, say, right within here, right? That would be a much more reasonable assumption at this given point in time. And the same goes as we look at our GEFS ensemble. This is even more aggressive. Take a look at that. A 4-inch snowfall mean for southern Louisiana. This right within here, I can confidently say is going to be a hot zone, a jackpot area. I'm already starting to see signals that this could be one of our heaviest snow areas of the event. So, and this also, would include going further east here, another zone over here for along the coastline. Again, 2 to 3 inch mean. All right, and now we're gonna move on to something a little more detailed, which will be your GEFS individual member panels. Oh no! And it's going to be a little bit hard to see here, but if you look at every individual plot here, you can see a very consistent signal for a snowstorm across the same areas I've been mentioning. You can kind of see that through all of our members here. We're seeing a broad agreement. Some of them don't do anything, like Ensemble 9. That is not going to happen. There's nothing even signifying a potential of this, so... Same thing with your snowfall amounts here. Some of these going ridiculously aggressive. Ensemble 28, casually throwing out about 2 feet of snow for South Carolina. Not really buying this. But you can see we have, as they say, some absolute big dogs in here and some absolute misses. Some are even in between. So hopefully this gives you a good idea of what we're looking at. Alright, so remember how earlier in the video I talked about these Arctic highs and how they tend to break down on the models as we get more in range? We're going to take a look at an example of that here. So your massive high pressure system, take a look at this. Absolutely expansive here. This is when your winter storm will be ongoing here. We'll switch to this. Alright, we'll switch to the morning of Tuesday. Big time, expansive, high pressure, and you're thinking that is very suppressive. Any storm system that tries to emerge is going to get shunted back into the Gulf. Not really. This actually isn't that strong, and I'll show you some of the previous runs here that were just going ballistic. So if we go 1 run, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 runs ago, look at this. Dark reds. This is a very intense Arctic high that will allow basically no precipitation. This was showing low temperatures getting near the negatives here for the mid-Atlantic. This was quite the insane run if you were looking for brittle Arctic temperatures, but, as we go through time, it's breaking down. And again, when you have such a strong high pressure, precipitation can't form as well and stay suppressed. When it weakens, alright, it'll be easier to get more precipitation and it'll lift north. So this is probably the reason we've been seeing northwest trends over the last few model runs in terms of what's going on down here with our storm system, and why I think we will continue to see this trend up until the day of. Everything that's down in this area here might be more up in this area here by day 1. Again, we really got to watch these things. These are very important forecasting tools here that we can use to identify where a system will be going without all the pretty little colors of precipitation all over the map. And now real quick, I want to take a look at our vorticity map. You really don't need to know too much about this other than the fact that if we see the letter L form out here, that indicates a strong storm system. We see this. This is an indication of an overrunning precipitation event in the Gulf Coast areas and even a little bit further north in your deep south and southeast. So you get this very sharp trough that digs down out west. And what this is going to do is it digs into Santa Ana. Oh, geez, you're going to get some more possibly damaging to destructive winds. Very high fire weather risk across these areas as well. Please stay safe if you're out there and heed all evacuation warnings if you can. Anyways, with this, it digs down really far south, and you can see just all this energy here that just starts streaming, just starts streaking off to your northeast. All this energy in here might be in the form of precipitation. We'll have to see. It could even expand further north of this as well. So, gosh, I hope I'm explaining this well. I feel a little bit rusty right now for whatever reason, but just trying to make it make more sense to you all here. A much less impressive L shape. It's a little more of a curve like this. Still favorable, but not going to get the job done with a storm system like this. It digs. Some of the energy gets strung out and just like bleh, off to the southwest, and you get this big old sloppy mess in the Gulf of Mexico, basically. And yeah, nothing much to say about that. And one last thing with this, I want to note your 500 millibar, your upper level wind flow. And this is going to be important to determining, will the northwestern side of the system overperform? We're going to take a look at this here. This is right as your winter storm is ongoing here. And what you can see here, and I know this looks like a bucket of spilled paint, I get it. I'll try to explain it the best I can, but we're seeing all your precipitation ongoing in this area here, where you kind of see your weaker wind flow aloft. You know, cloud tops extending really high up, causing tons of turbulence, you know, basically off of this here. And I would like to note, though, to the north of this, look at how strong your southwest flow is. And look at how southwestern it is. See, down here in these areas where we're talking about all the turbulence, your winds down here are kind of doing a little bit something like this, right? Kind of streaking across west-southwest. Up here, though, on your northwest side of the system, they're starting like that, but notice how it starts to tilt up a little bit more. We're starting to see a lot of divergence in this area. Divergence is what helps curate loads of precipitation. It kind of pulls the atmosphere apart, if you will, and forces any type of upper level precipitation such as virga, you know, up here, to precipitate down to the surface easier, especially with your strong winds aloft. Well, Alex, what exactly are you trying to say? With this logic, and if I'm wrong or I don't quite get this, any weather enthusiasts or meteorologists that may so happen to be watching this video, please comment down below and let me know immediately so I can learn from this. Anyways, do not be surprised if areas up here overperform. Alright? Don't be surprised one bit. Again, divergence likes to create a lot of precipitation. We see very strong divergence in this area here. This would indicate the potential for more precipitation. So you could see possibly even significant to major winter storm conditions going even into East Tennessee if something like this were to verify. That is what your short-range models will be used for, and we'll just have to see what pans out here. Alright, well, we're done with part 1 of the video now with our Deep South Winter Storm. We're going to quickly move into part 2 here, and this is our northeastern side of the equation. This is our first storm system here that could become quite a significant nor'easter and maybe even a blizzard threat. And, well, obviously this part of the video will go much faster. We don't have as much to talk about here. But you can see some energy moving up going into Saturday. We are expecting some rain, you know, just generally. And this first low pressure system doesn't cut it. It looks a little bit subtropical too. I'm not going to lie. If you showed me this in September, I'd kind of be looking at the National Hurricane Center kind of saying, could this be a tropical storm? But it's not that time of year right now, so I would disregard this. Alright, here you go. You have your snow breaking out down here across the upper southeast going into the mid-Atlantic. East Tennessee could see some snow showers going into Sunday here. Yeah, take a look at this expansive snow shield we see Going on up into Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland here, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, all up in the Mid-Atlantic to Northeast area. Yeah, nice little period of moderate snowfall from this model, and a classic deepening low pressure signal off the coast. And yeah, just nice look there. If you're looking for, about 3 to 4 inches of snow, which you haven't gotten this year, here you go. Enjoy it while it lasts. Yeah, take a look at that. And just really going to be looking beautiful out there for those areas. And let's take a look at your GFS here, coming in a little bit more aggressive. We're talking about a period of moderate snowfall at the very bottom of your screen there for East Tennessee. I do think we're going to see some snow flying around. And we'll have to see if any of it sticks. Maybe a dusting in localized spots, especially along your foothills in the mountains in the Smokies. This begins to lift off to your northeast, and whoa! Low pressure becomes a little bit excited, and we're talking about a period of heavy snow across New York City here, into portions of New Jersey. Yeah, you get the idea here. Whole entire northeast bomb here. You got a nice low pressure, and just a really snowy, really windy end to your Sunday, and wow, classic nor'easter moving up into Maine here. Very deep low pressure system, and we could end up seeing periodic isolated blizzard-like conditions develop. So you never know. We could be seeing uptrends, downtrends with this thing. It could surprise you at the last second. So Sunday, really got to watch up here in the Northeast. Now, for your Canadian model, we are seeing this in motion. A lot more aggressive, shows an all-out snowstorm back across your upper Southeast, Mid-Atlantic regions. This might be too aggressive. And stays a little further west. Your low pressure, okay, here's where it gets a little bit tricky, right? For you all, if any of you are watching out of New York City or Boston, well, I will say this. Your low pressure system on your GFS was right here. So off the coast. On your Canadian model, though, look at that, much further off to your west. So therefore, your transition zone, as always, will shift off to your northwest. Looks like a bit of maybe a northwest trend at the last second here. And we're sticking here with some cold, windy rain, just not really nice conditions. And then a big time nor'easter here for Connecticut, portions of Massachusetts, and your mountainous regions, New Hampshire, and Maine as well. Really getting in on the action. And with that, thank you so much for tuning into today's video. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please be sure to smash the like button, and feel free to subscribe to my little corner of the weather community, and share this with friends, family on social media who might want to know about this information. You might have someone living in New Orleans asking a lot of questions, like, are we going to get snow or not? Well, you can let them know from this video. Or you might have people like me, who live in East Tennessee, who want to know, am I gonna get snow? I don't know. I mean, maybe. No, I think we'll see that northwest trend pull through, and sorry for you all down here along the coast, I just don't think this is your storm. And don't forget to leave a comment in the section below letting me know if I've done well in this video, or if there's anything I need to improve on, or if I made any mistakes, any meteorological mistakes, please notify me of that. And with that said, I'll see you all in the next upload, possibly tomorrow, but more than likely on Sunday. Have a wonderful night, everyone.